How has social media, do you think, changed, especially a character like Lauren Cooper? Because when you killed her off, there was no Instagram, no Twitter, no Snapchat, no WhatsApp. There's none of that.
There's not that. I'm not on social media, so I've
I
no
know.
idea about that.
Why not?
Oh, I just couldn't think of anything.
You don't want to Instagram what you had for breakfast? That doesn't
don't.
appeal to you?
It doesn't. I just don't. It's just not for me. It's not for me, and I've really stepped. I'm really a Luddite in that respect. I don't do Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter, all those things. They're not. They're another country to me.
But that also, of course, it makes sense because you are actually quite a private person, isn't that right?
Of course, yeah. And it's just the thing of, I haven't got the time. I haven't got the time. It's just small talk, typing it out, isn't it? It's just another version for small talk.
Yeah.
I'm having a cup of tea. Don't care. don't care if you are, and I don't expect you to care if I am. It's not me. But I know it's very, very. Oh, it's very popular.
Yeah. Though that internet's definitely caught on.
I think I think they're onto something there.
Because you have a 13-year-old daughter, isn't that right?
Not quite, no.
12.
Yeah.
12. But it's been in the press recently, of course, that she's been slightly embarrassed by your behaviour. You're twerking specifically.
Oh, I know. That was.
Twerking.
That was a mistake.
I mean,
well,
really?
listen, if you're as good at twerking as I am,
oh yeah,
why would you possibly keep that under? Why would you hide that light under a
flame-haired Beyonce? You are.
Yes, I know, but it's the prerogative of parents to embarrass a child, isn't it?
Yeah, you went on national television
and
twerked. It wasn't like you did it outside the school gates.
Yes, exactly.
Millions of people saw it.
Yes, but there we go.
She's been described.
She's not spoken to me since.
Wow. So you're not thinking of doing that at the school gates just to wind her up even more? Because you're right, it is the prerogative. My children are 7 and 9, so I haven't got to that stage yet.
Yeah, the thing is, it's that thing that all her friends think I'm cool, but she doesn't think I'm cool at all. And I think that's always the way. You always think, everyone's parent is just so embarrassing to them, but other people think it's funny. I remember it being exactly the same with my mum. But it's absolutely the prerogative, and there's nothing you could do. It's just a phase they go through, isn't it? You just have to keep pushing on.
Earlier on, we were talking about parenting a lot earlier on, Catherine, and about isolation, about when you first got that child and you're there and you're like, what do I do? Is that anything you went through?
I think it's what most people go through. Absolutely. I think it is a very isolating thing. It's a shock, a massive shock to your system. I mean, I remember thinking, I can't remember which of the Chekhov characters it is. I think it's Marcia, and it's either in Three Sisters or The Seagull, where she says, I'm in mourning for my life. And that is how I felt when I was a child, because it was like suddenly life as you knew it stopped. And it was just this idea that you couldn't do anything spontaneously anymore. Spontaneity goes once you have a baby, because of course your main purpose in life for the next however long is to keep this this precious thing going, So it was a real shock to me. Yeah, it was a real shock, as I think it is for lots of people.
And was there ever any guilt about going back to work?
To me, it was. I think it's a mixture of guilt and, oh my God, this will be something. You sort of need it. There was guilt, and then there was also, well, if I don't do it, I think I'm going to go crazy. So it's always mixed in with lots of things. I think it's that there's guilt, and then there's guilt if you go back to work, and then there's, like, the lady was saying, she feels she was having a second-rate existence, which is an awful thing for someone to experience. But also, if that is what you're experiencing, if you are experiencing that, then your natural instinct is to go and perhaps do something else. And I think we need to be kinder to ourselves for whatever choices we make.
Did you have much of a support structure?
I did, yeah, absolutely. And I think that's very, very important. I think that's probably at the root of a lot of people's isolation, is suddenly they're cut off from people, and it's a lonely world being with a child on your own all the time, being with a baby that can't tell you what's wrong, and you're perhaps used to doing something, where you're with lots of people work right up until they give birth, and then suddenly it all stops and you are in alien territory. So I think, yeah, support's very, very good, and the the scheme that you're talking about, where people are reaching out to each other and helping, I'm sure will be have massive impact on people.
Yeah. And especially for dads, that was quite an interesting. We took a few calls from dads who said how lonely they felt.
Absolutely, I think it's a two-way street. There's no difference in the way. It's not like the men are going through anything less, I don't think. It's still a massive shock. There's an awful lot of pressure on men, I think, to, perhaps it's lessening now, but to not feel vulnerable and feel anxious, and they've got to be the rock and stuff. But I'm sure most men are feeling, oh my gosh, what's happening?
Mm. Let's get back to the work.
Sure.
Back to the work. And the tour itself. Will there be any new characters? I mean, is this going to be something to try out for a new Catherine Tate series?
Oh no, that's not what we're doing. Is there a new? We've done a. Oh, let me think.
Because they're new sketches, completely new sketches.
Oh,
of course.
totally new sketches, all new material.
But
yes.
any new characters? Because we live in a world which is getting increasingly full of bizarre characters.
Yes. Some real people, just difficult to lampoon.
I can't think who you'd be talking about.
Yeah. There's a couple of pre-recorded characters that we've done. Me and Brett, we've done a couple of technicians who are working in the theatre. So we sort of cut to them as if they are the stage management of the show, who have a little love story going on between them. But mainly it's all recognisable characters, yeah.
Who's the one that you get the biggest buzz from doing?
I think it's Nan, really, because Nan's the one I carried on doing after the show finished, but also because she just does get an extraordinary reaction, and that's a very lovely thing. It's just a lovely thing that she's very much, she's very recognisable to people, and I think it's the one I will... I don't say it's the one I'll most enjoy, because I love doing them all, and I do like, doing lots of things, but we're saving Nan to the end for that reason. Yeah.
Do you ever venture into Taylorisms, as I could call them, perhaps? Nan Taylorisms, into her lines or into her way of thinking in real life? Has it ever crossed over?
No.
You've never mispronounced an Asian person's name?
No, I don't think so. I don't. I don't think. I don't. It's not like I'm terribly method about any of it. It's great fun to do, but it's not like I walk around with them or anything like that. It's not like I think in any of my characters' thoughts or
Being in Edinburgh last year, one thing I noticed by a lot of the shows that I saw was how comedians were mixing real humour with real darkness.
Yeah.
Which I found really fascinating, about how they would take you to these places where suddenly you're laughing, and then they just take this place where they almost want you in a kind of sadomasochistic way to look uncomfortable.
Oh, right. Yes. Yeah. I think that absolutely has its place in comedy. I think it's possibly easier to do that when it's just you and a microphone. Because in a room.
But some of the things that Nan says, I guess, would make some people feel uncomfortable.
Yes, but we've always got someone on stage who's also the voice of reason. So
that's true, Matthew.
Yeah, you know what I mean. It's not like we're saying this is the worldview of things. It's just a pretend old lady's worldview of things.
Now, you've lived in America, and I loved what you said about LA, just about how overexcited everybody is about everything. So everything's marvelous, right? Like everything's awesome.
Oh my God! And the other thing is, there is massive pressure on everyone to be so excited about everything. Are you excited? Are you excited for your almond croissant? No, because it's just a bit of pastry, love. Are you excited for Wednesday? Not particularly. And that's okay. Not everything has to be really super exciting.
So how long did it take you to work out that if you were going to just be typically English,
you can't.
You were going to just be a curmudgeon?
Oh, absolutely. No, you can't. You have to just get on board with it. And because it's so exhausting, you realise it's just easier to just get on board and say, yeah, great, it's really good. I'm really excited for Wednesday. Because it's just easier. Because if you just go, why? There's no point in analysing it and go, listen, can I just say it's just against all my moral beliefs to be telling you I don't want to be excited for no particular reason. You just go, yeah, it's going to be great.
But did you not find it at any point, because I'm married to an American, that kind of optimism is kind of catching?
Oh, listen, absolutely. I'm converted now. I absolutely love it. I've no time for this. I've no
How
time.
awesome was your croissant this
It was
morning,
so
Catherine?
awesome. I think there's an awful lot to recommend. The cacophony of insincerity that follows you around, and just be totally shallow and happy about everything. I'm a convert to it, and I thoroughly recommend it.
Did you have to have it extracted when you got back to the UK? Did people start looking at you slightly odd?
I shed it like a skin as soon as I get to Heathrow.
Did you?
Yeah, as soon as I get to Heathrow, I'm like, don't talk to me. And then when I get off at LAX, it's like, oh my God, this is amazing, you guys.
You lived there for some time. Could you, do you think, ever move back there?
Oh yeah, absolutely, I would. I genuinely, LA was a very hard sell to me because it's a town that doesn't yield its secrets easily, and it's very isolating if you don't know how the town works. But once you do, it's great, and I do absolutely love it there, and I go back an awful lot and would very happily go back to live.
And lots of parties and lots of schmoozing, which I'm sure you found amazing.
That was not my experience of LA.
Seriously?
No. Oh gosh, no.
Didn't you have to play the game? I mean, Catherine played a game, okay? I'm your agent out here. I mean, play the game. Come on. What's wrong
you
with
guys. I didn't, but because I didn't. There was nothing to. There was no need to do that. I didn't go there to convert anyone or anything like that. I went there to experience something new and have a great adventure, and I did, and I did fall in love with it there. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, we have, of course, all fallen in love with you over a decade or more, and you are going on tour. And thank you for coming in today to talk to us about your tour.